dream on a crazy ride, but it feels like I've been waiting at the end of the line. I can't go back, I can't go back. Now I finally know I used to be where I wanna go. Now I finally know. Oh, I can't believe it only gets better and better and better every single day of my life. Oh, I can't believe it shades of you.
Run around in the sunshine, baby, I'm chasing you. Got a smile that tastes like daisies, that yellow, purple, and blue.
Yeah, everybody's still talking about the president, but I'm just over here and thinking how you're heaven sent. You got me living on your loving, drunk all of a sudden, whoa. I've been around, I've seen every kind of lover, a fool and technicolor, but now I wanna shine with shades of you.
Run around in the backyard.
Okay, got it. Because I remember the rhythm.
Okay.
I remember the lyric. I mean,
Well,
the,
I'll be
I didn't
singing
remember
along
the
with you
music.
anyways.
Okay, cool, right. That helps. Here we go. Turn it this way. All right. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. We're happy today to have with us back Sean Harris, who will lead us into song.
Thank you.
So come on in.
Standing outside the door, love and mercy, you won't if there's a place there for you. You know there's peace inside, but still you're searching for someone where the door's unlocked, is all. What are you waiting for? Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong right now. No matter where you've been, come on in. You'll find the peace inside. God knows the that you're searching for. I can realize nights are long, waiting there for you. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Come on in. Okay.
Good morning, Unityville Park. And can we hear it one more time for Sean Harris and our Unity Choir? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so excited for today. We have a special guest, and that is Reverend Heidi from Unity of Ventura. If we can just give her a warm welcome. Can you please stand just so we can wave to you? Yeah, thank you. And for our online community, if we can just turn around and say, Happy Sunday! Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday it is, and today we are celebrating our truth. This whole month we've been learning different lessons on knowing our truth and living our truth. Our fifth unity principle says that we must not only know our truth, we must also live our truth. And we are definitely doing that today, isn't that right? Yes. I love the words of Myrtle Fillmore where she shares, it's Emily Cady. Emily Cady is the founding author of the Unity Movement who wrote Lessons in Truth. And this is what she shares about living our truth. She says, all joy and strength and good spring up from a fountain within one's own being. And if we only knew this truth, we should know that because God in us is the fountain out of what all good comes from. Nothing that anyone does or says or fails to say or do can take away our joy or good. That is living our truth. No one can tell us how to live our truth, and no one can tell us how to live joyfully, how to express our own joy. And so with that spirit of mind, of knowing that our truth comes in many forms and shapes, because we all come in different forms and shapes, let's unify together, let's unify our mind, our heart, with that awareness in prayer. Let us take a nice deep breath, breathe in, and exhale. One more full breath. And exhale. And in this sacred space, within each and every one of us, we recognize the presence of God is our power. It is our power to live, to fulfill, to realize every moment in each day of our life. And so we bring forward the power of God, knowing that God is unlimited. God is unlimited when we are in alignment to our truth, when we are fully aware that we are children of God. We have the mindset of knowing that there is enough because we are enough. And in the spirit of enoughness, we say yes, yes, yes. We say yes to God. We say yes to life. We say yes to love, to joy, to the truth of what we live. And we celebrate that truth with one another by saying, yes, I see you. Yes, I can hear you. And yes, we are all here to live our truth. And in the power and awareness of knowing that God is, in the name of the Father, Mother, Child, expression, Holy Spirit, wholeness of our spirit, we say amen, amen, and thank you, God, and so it is. And so it is. Amen. And now please join us for our daily word.
Good morning. The daily word for today, May 21st, was originally from July 29th, 2020, and the word is connection. I have a sacred connection to all life. I see the interconnectedness of everything when I look at nature. I notice how the trees provide a nesting place for birds and how rainfall nourishes all living creatures. My observations remind me that I am connected to all things through spirit. I honor my connection to all living beings by expressing respect and kindness to animals, the environment, and all people. I give thanks for the food and other resources nature provides that sustains my life. I work on improving my interpersonal skills so that I may better communicate and connect with authenticity and compassion. I learn from the wisdom of all of life, and I honor all connections as sacred. And from Ephesians 4:1-3, I therefore beg you to lead a life worthy of calling to which you have been called, with all humility and gentleness, with patience, bearing with one another in love, making every effort to maintain the unity of spirit in the bond of peace. And the word for today is connection.
To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear when your arms are too weary, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march to hell for a heavenly cause. And I know if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this, that one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march to hell for a heavenly cause. And I know if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this, that one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable star. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Wow. We just need a little breath, right? Thank you. Thank you. Sean Harris. Yes, we love you, Sean. I just love the words, but also, what resonates after the words, right? Just that vibration, and seeing even the visuals of Sean Harris up here with our theme for the year, Dream Big and Live Bigger. Thank you for making this come alive. We appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. And speaking of living our truth, we have Reverend Heidi, who is a very special, an amazing wisdom teacher of our unity movement, and she has blessed many communities within our world, and I say that world because she does travel the world. And I want to just share a little bit of a brief bio so that we can get the gist of what a powerful being you are, Reverend Heidi. Reverend Heidi is the minister of Unity of Ventura. She's a transformational leader, speaker, and teacher of authentic spiritual living. Her journey with Unity started 35 years ago, originally introduced to her through the 12-step program. She served in Unity Ministries in Fort Lauderdale, Maui, Kansas City, Chicago, and Santa Barbara. And she was ordained in 2011 and holds a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. Heidi's philosophy is that we are all diamonds in the rough. As Michelangelo taught, one just needs to chip off what is not part of the masterpiece that is you. Reverend Heidi's passion is co-creating spiritual communities in which people find their tribe, follow their passion, live their faith, connect with their inner divinity, and manifest a world that works for all. And it is my privilege and pleasure to introduce Reverend Heidi.
Ooh, how glorious to be here. Rev Ev, my new spiritual brother. I am so, I have known you somewhere in another life or something, because we are just, I love that you all have manifested this man. You all know this, right? Yes, and that he has manifested all of you. It is so beautiful to see, we won't call us old friends, we'll call us longtime friends. And new friends. Unity is beautiful because we do find our tribe. And we say at the beginning, we welcome you no matter where you've been. And that's a good thing for me, because I've been in some very interesting places in this life, certainly before I found Unity. And after Unity, it's been a lot more fun, because I remember where I am. It was a little tricky before. But I can say that if Sean Harris can hit that high note, maybe I can reach that unreachable star. That was fantastic. I love you. I just love you. Yeah. And thanks for living your truth, because there is so much courage it takes to live your truth. it is uncomfortable at times to live your truth because most of us have been taught, like Marianne Williamson says in her Our Deepest Fear, that we're more comfortable with our failures than our successes. And to live your life purpose is a very vulnerable and authentic thing to do. And we have spent, all of us at some point or another, we have hid from that truth. And so living your truth, I'm so glad we come together to have this conversation so we can remember. And then when we go out in the world, because I drove here and the Chicago drivers have gotten even a little worse, right? And it's kind of like, just carry on. I'm trying to go the speed limit. This is what I committed to. And I don't know what you're doing, but it's just like, you know, you always want to say, God bless you, light of the world over there. Oh, boy. So the title of the talk this morning is The Truth Will Set You Free, and You'll Be Surprised What You Will See. Now, I would say that most of us think we're honest people, all right? Especially, you know, if we come to church and all right? And then we come here and we learn that often we have been living a lie in the sense of when you come in, you recognize that maybe you were taught that God is some outside force, that you have to do some things for God to like you. And you're always sort of wondering what if you're doing the right thing. And when I came into Unity, as all of you, I found that I am made in the image and likeness of God, and it's cellular, and I am the co-creator of this life with this energy that grows the trees and the plants and the flowers, and I'm never separated from it, but I certainly can feel like I am. And your prayer was so beautiful this morning. It's really this ability to rest into our greatness. And so I'm glad you're all here, because when I'm doing this by myself, sometimes it doesn't feel quite as powerful. And so it's wonderful that we come here to really have a connection of the heart. You know, many of our books, Emily Cady was my first book that I read, and I remember reading it and feeling so elevated and excited. And then how can I apply this to my life? And her book, of course, is Lessons in Truth. And Charles Fillmore wrote a book with a bunch of essays called Talks on Truth. And what they're talking about is the capital T truth, this idea that we really are unlimited possibility. But we also can identify with this body that feels like it is limited, like I stop here and you start there, and I'm blood and bone and skin, and I have hurts and I have challenges, and I can get more interested in that identity rather than the big T truth. So we're going to play around with this little T truth that we deal with as this human and this human condition, and then remind us how we can live in that capital T truth one moment at a time. And I'll tell you, I have learned that when I can deal with the little T truth, sort of this interaction with the humans and the animals, and when I can be one with it, the capital T truth kind of shows up. So I always laugh at what we do as humans, because there's lots of things we say about truth. And sometimes we see truth like just a little bit of it. We can say there's a kernel of truth, or a shred of truth, or a grain of truth, or nothing could be further than the truth. We can manipulate the truth. We can bend the truth or stretch the truth. This one I haven't worked with for a while, but I guess it's probably truth. The truth is in the wine. Have you ever heard this? Yeah. When I was drinking wine, I don't know what was coming out, but it was, many people said it was weird, but I don't know if it was the truth. And then we say half the truth is a whole lie. Mm-hmm. And then we have a whole religious slant on the truth of God's honest truth, the gospel truth. I haven't heard this one, but maybe you've heard it. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Awakening, we have a moment of truth. We can have the naked truth. Vulnerability, we can say the truth hurts. The truth will get out. And if you're going to have a sworn testimony, you're asked to tell the truth, the whole truth, and what else? Nothing but the truth. It's like, don't mess around here, you know, and you got to put your hand on a Bible, and, you know, and that seems odd to me, because what if you're not a Bible person? You know, maybe like, I'll have my book of choice, please. Give me Lessons in truth. Sometimes the truth is in the humor. There's a grain of truth in every joke. Yes, many a truth is said in jest. So watch out when you're telling jokes, you know? It's like, and I always have been perplexed when someone says to me, to tell you the truth, and I think, what else have you been telling me? I mean, is this the moment of truth here? And we know that, you know, gossip and lies travel quickly. Mark Twain says, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is just putting on its shoes. Right? So we look, and a big, one of the factors that you can start to pay attention to when we're looking at, am I living my truth, is how do I feel, right? Because you can feel when you're saying something that is not beneficial to you and someone else. And so it's a lot of paying attention as we're learning to tell the truth and live in the truth. So where do we get these stories about not living the truth? How do we start to live a lie about who we are? Because kids tell the truth, right? They say things that you think, well, that would have been nice if you'd not said that. My niece and nephew, when they were little, it was like, I won't even tell you some of the things they said, but it was trying to think of one thing I could say in mixed company. But anyway, you know, kids will say all kinds of things. So families, I'm a family therapist, and the reason I got into being so interested in families, you know, systems in which we grow up, so, you know, it can be families, religions, education, is that families are a notorious place for the truth to not be told, right? For something to just be not discussed, and somehow that's okay. Was that your family too? Right. And so I'm going to tell you a little light story with some humor to it to start off. Okay, so Joe and Janie were roommates. And Joe's mother came over for dinner. And during the meal, Joe's mother couldn't help but notice how pretty Janie was, and she'd long been suspicious of a relationship between the two, and this had only made her more curious. Over the course of the evening, while watching the two interact, she started to wonder if there was more between Joe and Janie. And reading his mom's thoughts, Joe volunteered, I know what you must be thinking, but I assure you we're just roommates. About a week later, Janie said to Joe, ever since your mom came to dinner, I've been unable to find the gravy boat. You don't suppose your mother took it, do you? And Joe said, well, I doubt it, but I'll email her just to make sure. So Joe sat down and wrote, Dear Mom, after your visit, the gravy boat's been missing. I'm not saying you did take it, and I'm not saying you didn't take it, but the fact remains that it has been missing since you came here for dinner. Love, Joe. Several days later, he received an email from his mother, which read, Dear Joe, I'm not saying you do sleep with Janie, and I'm not saying you don't sleep with Janie, but the fact remains that if Janie was sleeping in her own bed, she would have found the gravy boat. Right? Oh, love mom. Yes. But you know how this is with families. We don't know, parents don't know how to talk about things, and they learn that from their parents. You know, I had the disease of alcoholism was certainly visiting my family, and people would get drunk and nobody talk about it. Wasn't that fun? And I'm like, well, no, it wasn't fun, right? And but there wasn't a place to talk about these things. And so things like feelings and money and love and all of these conversations, we can run out of words. Aldous Huxley, we can look at the first quote here. He says, facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. I love that, right? Facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored, because I really thought if you just didn't talk about something, it would go away. And then somehow or another, the next friendship or relationship or situation or boss, I was dealing with the same thing. not knowing how to ask for the money I needed, not knowing my value, not knowing how to talk about my feelings, and just hoping, somebody'd figure me out. Anybody just want somebody to read your mind, or then hope they can't read your mind? Yeah, right? So it can be really confusing. So when we're talking about living your truth, it's sort of, well, what is my truth? That's a question a lot of people ask. What is my truth? It's beautiful to see Juan here. Juan was working with our AV system over at Unity in Chicago, and now he's up here, and I'm looking at you going, see, this is your truth, right? And you just kept showing up, right? And you didn't say, which you did say to me once, and that's right. Oh, honey, I can't do this. I got to go out and make a living. I'm like, but this is your living, right? See, this is where we get confused. You don't make a living. You have a living. Yeah, yay, right? So... And somehow I went away and you did it without me, but I'm still very inspired. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, look at him up there. And look at Sean is continuing to do his thing. And this is how we really love each other in our spiritual tribe, is we see for other people what they can't maybe see for themselves. And we hold that. And to me, it's so clear to see it in other people. In myself is where I go, oh, I guess I could do that, or I'm going to try to do that, and I've certainly run from my truth many times. Telling the truth makes your life easier. Mark Twain says, if you tell the truth, and Mark, you're going to love this. I don't know why you came to mind when I thought of this. If you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. That sounds just like Mark saying something like that. That's right. Keep it simple. So that's our thing, is to be able to source what is my truth. And I'll get into the points of the truth in just a moment. I was reminded of a movie that came out in 1992, A Few Good Men. Y'all remember that movie? And it was a movie with Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise and Demi Moore, a lot of people. But the film was mainly about Colonel Jessup, who was played by Jack Nicholson, and Lieutenant Kaffee, who was played by Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise's character was being asked to investigate a murder that supposedly these two Marines had killed another Marine. And Colonel Jessup had been in the system, in the military system, so long that he had sort of blurred the lines between right and wrong. And part of what we do when we've lived our life for so long, the way we've lived it, I can't talk about this. I don't, nobody talks about this. We start to think this is just the way it is. So, Tom Cruise's character had not been in a courtroom before. And he really was the type to kind of just push things off and just, not really pay attention to this. But when he met Colonel Jessup and saw what a difficult human being he was, he thought, I want to go in there and be the defense attorney. So he is trying to get Colonel Jessup to admit that he had called for a code red, which was to haze this Marine and who eventually had died. And Tom Cruise's character says, eventually, I just want the truth. And you all probably remember what Jack Nicholson said back. You can't handle the truth. But the deal is, the person that couldn't handle the truth was Jack Nicholson, right? So he yells this, and he talks about how his philosophy about being a military person and how Tom Cruise doesn't appreciate this. But Tom Cruise just keeps going, because he did want the truth. And he said, and then he started saying, did you order a code red? Did you order a code red? And he was just in his face with it. And Jack Nicholson says, blank, blank, you bet I did. And so the truth set him free, right? But he went to prison, right? And the truth set these guys free because they were ordered to do what they did. And it's a really interesting metaphor for what we're talking about here, in that there's the person saying you can't handle the truth when he's the one that really was not able to tell the truth. And he's being asked, and we all have this part of us that has defended whatever it is, our family or our religion or the way we think things are supposed to be. And who we're really being unkind to is ourselves. And we have life will holler at us like the Tom Cruise character. I want to know the truth. It's sort of like you're dealing with this war within you of really knowing you're here to be able to speak your truth. But how do I do it? How do I do it without making somebody else wrong? How do I do it honoring myself and recognizing it's a balance? And so this idea of you can't handle the truth is our opportunity to look at what can we handle? What is up for you to handle in this moment of your life? What is that truth that you're willing to tell yourself? You know, until the day I could say I'm an alcoholic, or now I am a grateful member of the 12-step program. I wanted to say it differently, to not use the I am. But until I could say that, and it took me a long time to have the awareness and a lot of colorful experiences. But when I was able to say that and become aware of it, I could handle that truth. Everybody around me was like, you think? You know, I mean, they've been picking me up and taking me here and, you know, driving with me when I get my license taken away from drinking and driving. And you know, so everybody around me knew. But it was my moment of truth. And it was a lot of loving support that was the catalyst. It wasn't the punishment of being arrested and going to jail. It was the loving support, actually, of a probation officer that was also in a 12-step program that looked at me and said, you know, Heidi, you're going down on an elevator and you can get off at this floor, but if you don't get off at this floor, you're going to keep going down. And I could see in his eyes, he really cared about me. And that's what I feel at Unity, is people care about me. And that allows me to care about me. Right? Yes. Oh, Mr. Impossible Dream over there. Yes, it's so true. It's true. You know, what's great about the word impossible, and maybe you've heard this, but if you separate it, it's I'm possible. So I would like us to affirm the truth will set me free. Can we say that together? The truth will set me free. And to be in that idea of, that is a big word, the truth, right? And you're able to handle the truth as you are. The more support, the more love you have, the better you will be able to handle your truth. Jesus was a truth teacher. Can we agree? Yes. And Jesus did not go around telling people, you know, you better get right. You know, you better figure this out. You're a big mess. You're a sinner. You're going to hell, whatever. He wasn't judgmental at all. He would come to people and remind them of who they were and invite them to follow him or to become part of what Rev Ev talks a lot about, consciousness. You know, are you willing to live this amazing life you were born to live? The man at Bethesda that had been sitting there a long time, everybody walks over me to get to the water and I can't move, and that was his story for a long time. He'd been there for years. And I've had those stories. Oh my gosh, this is bad, what's happening? I was in a job for a while that it wasn't my perfect job, and I told the story over and over, and everybody at that job told the story over and over about how awful it was. So Jesus basically says to him, do you want to be well? You know, I don't want to hear that story. I only got a few years here. I don't have a lot of time. So just tell me, I'm not here to wallow in that. Do you want to be well? And the man said, yes, right? Because it was his moment to say yes. And then, he picked up his mat and he walked. And to the woman, the Samaritan woman, he met her and she's at the well and she says, well, Samaritans and Jews don't talk to each other. And he sort of, see, that's not my gig, gal. I mean, he didn't say it just like this, but it was, he said, I don't do that, me versus you. I mean, again, I always love thinking of Jesus. I'm running out of time here, We don't have to do this. Does this feel good for you to say, I'm a Samaritan and you're a Jew and we don't talk? Is there's some kind of joy in that? It's like, no. So he said, so let's get over that, and then let's decide. I will tell you, you can keep getting the water out of the well, but from this water, you'll be thirsty again. But if you want to be in this consciousness, this is living water for your eternal life. And then, he'd just sit there with a pause, don't you know it? And, and she's like, yeah, that's what I want. I'll have some of that. And to his disciples, they were simple fellows just out there fishing. And he went by and he said, guys, you could be not just fishermen, you could be fishers of men. And if that sounds inspirational to you, then follow me. And he just walked off, right? He wasn't like grabbing people and, I need you and dragging them along. And it's interesting to see why you come to your Unity community, because there's something that gets ignited here. There's something that helps you know more about why you were born and who you are and your purpose. And everybody has the feeling of the unreachable, the impossible dream and the unreachable star, but you stay on your path and you go through hell for a heavenly cause. And it can feel like hell. Life can feel so strange sometimes. And then I wonder, divine order, like, this is divine order, I'll ask myself. And then I come in here, and Sean's speaking. Martha said to me, did you ask for him? And I said, no, God is good. I did ask for him, and in one breath of inspiration, yes. But it's so beautiful to see how incredibly organized this universe is for you to awaken. The truth will set me free. Let's say it again. The truth will set me free. And it is confusing when there are things that don't go our way. But I like this idea of less of me and more of thee, if we're looking at our connection to the holiness with which we were born, the sacredness, the amazing journey that no one will ever be you. That's a big deal, all right? Because, I used to just kind of waste away thinking I'm just going to, life is hard and then you die, right? We've heard this. And this is so not the Christ consciousness that it is our divine inheritance. So what are some skills we can use to start telling our truth? It is often in the quiet, to really have your time of meditation and prayer. And I'm going to say this for your homework also, what is it when I say, you can't handle the truth? And when you think of what is it that I'm wanting to handle, and how do I learn to speak? How do I learn to talk about the things that are troublesome in my life? And often it takes time to get clear about that. We always want to use I statements, because my truth is never about making anybody wrong. And often if I'm going to bring somebody into the conversation or talk about someone with them, I always want to use, this is how I experienced this, right? Because I do know, and sometimes I forget, that everyone really is in their own journey of truth. They're living their truth. Even though sometimes I'm like, I don't know what kind of truth that is. But anyway, that's the old kind of like, I'm supposed to be working on everybody else's truth. So it's a personal thing. It's something about paying attention. It is also can be, you really want to discern who you tell the truth, who you talk to, right? Because some people are not ready for you. I don't know about you, but I was called too much, or, Heidi's like out there, right? And then my mother started eventually calling me her free spirit. It got nicer later. But the idea of being too much or out there or nobody gets you. See, that is not, this group gets you. They absolutely get you. And it's great to be in a place where we just say, welcome in, welcome home. Mark Twain also says, never tell the truth to people who are not worthy of it. All right? And we don't say not worthy in the sense of something's wrong with them. We just know that you'll know people that are too afraid of that kind of level of truth.
Casting pearls before swine.
Oh, there you go. And yes, okay. We got a lot of, sometimes swine seems to be all around you. But it's really fascinating to see. I do find that these people about which I'm afraid are often my teachers. right? So I remember I was moving to Hawaii in the year 2000, and I decided to go. I visited a couple of times. My friend Alan Cohen, maybe many of you know, is an author, and he lived there, and I house sat for him. And I decided to move there because it was beautiful and people were nice, and there was a lot of people, my age that had been there. They had a Unity. I had 12-step programs, so I decided to move, and I got it all going, and there was a place it manifested to live, and there was a wedding coordinator, a Unity minister that was leaving, and she was going to give me a lot of weddings, and so everything was falling together, but I needed to eventually tell my parents I was going to leave the continent, right? I mean, they were the last people. Because in my family, you have a plan. It's a long plan. You stay with it. There's lots of research. And so when I went, they were the last people to talk to, because I'd had the experience of calling them and having them tell me all the things I was already scared about, right? But they would tell me their fears, and it would ignite my fears. So I got together with them, and I said, listen, I'm going to tell you all something. I feel really good about it. And I don't need you to be worried about me. I don't need you to tell me something's wrong with what I'm going to say. I just need you to think good thoughts about me. And so I told them I was moving to Maui, and I had it all worked out, and I had a place to live, and they sat there like statues, right? Because they didn't know how to not be worried. Right? But they were very good. They just sat there, and I said, so Mom and Dad, I want you all to see me so happy out there on beaches doing weddings, not falling off a cliff, right? Like, see me as really prosperous and happy. And they were like, okay, right? And years later, they came to visit me. And like, people see you years later, and my parent, how did you meet all these people? How do you know all these? How did this work out? And what I ended up doing eventually is I was their teacher. They allowed me, my dad later in his life, he'd say, Heidi, you have great personal power. I'm like, okay, because, he was a scientist, he was a researcher. And so for him, this whole taking a risk thing was just bananas, right? And I do that in a small way when I think of another gentleman that really paved the way for many and lived his truth. And he just passed at 96 years old, Harry Belafonte. And he was a man that lived his truth. And came in, he said, I was reading about him, he said, I was an activist before I was an artist. And he was a singer, had some fun music, but then he got into film, and he noticed this horrible racism that he was dealing with. He was finally in a movie, was it Dorothy? Okay, yes, where he was the first time he could kiss a woman on screen, because he had been put together with white women before. And he was offered many roles, but he said, I don't want to work in this environment. And he went on to become friends with Martin Luther King Jr. and really became a person that was standing for what was true for him. And then it became a truth that changed many people's minds. And he lived to 96. He was not perfect. He had some broken relationships with his children. In fact, Eleanor Roosevelt got involved with his life once because no landlord would rent to him because his second wife was white, and they were in an interracial marriage. And so the man went through a lot, but he kept to his truth. It was his inner experience. He didn't need to make things, well, he did make things, he said they were wrong, but he just wouldn't get involved with them. And this is where, can we handle the truth? Can we handle what it is that is your job on this planet? To not let things that are not right be okay. To stand in whatever that is that you need to say, this is not okay, and practice the nonviolent communication. Practice just being present, because it's so powerful, just your essence. So we go on to really live our truth in the sense of listening deeply to what it is that is up for you. What is the thing that feels a little scary? What is the thing that's on your heart right now that's like, I want to talk about this. I want to stand for this. And we need our prayer partners. We need our community. We need our tribe, because I practice things with the people that I know that get me before I go and talk to people that don't get me. Yes. And it was a big prayer time in my prosperity class when I did resign from my job as a flight attendant. Your exit doors are there. And with my prayer group, I went and resigned, and I went to see my supervisor, who I never saw unless you were in trouble. And I said, I'm in this prosperity class, and I've had a higher calling. And she said, higher than 30,000 feet? And I said, yes, I like you. This is it. And she said, Heidi, you're going to be great. She goes, so many people stay in this job and hate it. Have you ever seen an unhappy flight attendant? Yes, right? So I just invite us all to live this truth. You know, our mother Myrtle, she heard a truth, right? I'm a child of God, and therefore I don't inherit sickness. And it healed her. So we listen for the things that awaken us. We work with those fears that are just false evidence appearing real. We hook up with our tribe and our community, and then we can be the teachers as we go and talk to the folks in our lives that perhaps don't understand, and we use our I statements. So Marianne ends her deepest fear by saying, who are you? I wrote it down, and it's somewhere, not to be brilliant, fabulous, gorgeous, and another wonderful word. And then she says, who are you not to be? You know, you are a child of God, and you are here to let your light shine. So let's say it together. The truth will set me free. The truth will set me free. And you'll be surprised what you will see, and glorious it will be. And so it is. Yay, yay, yay. Oh, thank you. Oh. Yay. That's so sweet. So let's take a little time in our divine silence to marinate in this truth. The truth will set me free. Freedom is a feeling. We know Nelson Mandela was in jail many years and felt free. Came to know freedom. So freedom is not about your circumstances. It's about your ability to see the lightness, the wideness of your consciousness. You might visualize a space that you know that feels large and open, or a bird, or somewhere, something that feels free to you. And just be with that thought. I am free. And let that truth marinate your body. We sit in the silence with the truth will set me free. I can handle the truth. I am here to live my truth. The fear or the resistance is only to be overcome with faith and love. I have walked so many steps with the truth. I've taught many people, and many people have taught me. So let it be gentle. Let the Christ consciousness guide you. And know that more will be revealed, and your light that is with you all the time will continue to shine brightly. Thank you, God. And so it is.
practice the law of circulation, knowing that comes with knowing that we are truly blessed. And so we bring all of our blessings to our heart, remembering our truth that we just heard by Reverend Heidi. And as we hold that truth in our mind, we give thanks for all of our prayers, our offerings that we give and receive that allows our community to flourish and our relationships to grow. We stand and we sing together with our choir. We are so blessed. Just to remember and to remind ourselves of Reverend Heidi's message of knowing that we do have a tribe here, and it's very important to have our tribe in our awareness, and our prayer chaplains really help us to remember our truth. So just to let everyone know that our prayer chaplains are available after the service for prayer. But they're also available Monday evenings on their meditation experience online, and it's through Zoom, and you can find all the details through our website. So let's take this moment to use our power of truth with our words as we affirm and we bless all the offerings we receive, from the prayers to the financial offerings, but also the service that we give. So let's take a nice deep breath and just go into our heart as we affirm. Divine love, expressing as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and all that I am. And so it is. Amen. Thank you.
All right, Unity. Well, when I knew that I was going to be singing here today, I couldn't find a song about truth, so I wrote one. And it's called The Truth. And after I wrote it, that's when I found the Impossible Dream, the Man of La Mancha. So, all right, so here we go. From the beginning of time, out of the darkness, into the light, God, creator of heaven and earth. Thank you. Thank you.
Follow. So, this has nothing to do with crying, it's announcements. A great way to know what's happening here at Unity Oak Park and to be engaged is by visiting our website, unityoakpark.org. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and sign up for our newsletter on our website. You may watch the slides before or after service or visit the Community Hub table after service for more information and pick up flyers. And please, please, please share them with your family and friends so we can continue to grow the word, spread the word, and grow the community. We are always looking for volunteers, especially for Sunday service. You can sign up for slots that work for you from the Sign Up Genius link on our website or at the Community Hub table during fellowship, or contact Ron Johnson, who just walked in, and he can help you with that. Here are a couple of exciting things to check out. But before I do that, I'd like to introduce Babatoni to have a little special one of our children. Children's.
Good morning, everyone. We have two quick stories for you. Marvel's our first youth teller. Come on, Marvel.
On the 14th today, for Mother's Day, I have the best mom. She makes me and Gabby food. She takes care of us and our dad. She takes us to the park. She took us to the water park and took us to the arcade.
This is Gabby.
One time my mom made a really good plate of macaroni and it was really good.
So another word for love is food.
Yes. Thank you very much. Let's hear for our youth. They are our future. And the lessons they're learning upstairs are beautiful. Okay, so Pray Big and Play Workshop with Rev Ev. No, that's old. This is all old. Okay. Read the announcements. Because the sheet I'm looking at doesn't have anything except I have one great big announcement. And that is, save the date. The card is on the chair. Our big gala, the party of the year, is on October 14th. If those of you that were there last year know it was a lot of fun with great food and great people. So please come join us, save the date, bring your friends, and enjoy. So October what? 14th. I hope to see you all there. I don't know what I'll be wearing, but I got a little time to plan. And now, I'd also like to bring up Reverend Heidi for a special announcement that I'm very, very excited about.
Yes. Well, when you have Michelle Schmall involved with the gala, it's going to be fantastic. I'll be coming. I'm going to come for this. Yes, right. Yes. Oh, yes. You can't miss a Michelle Schmall gala. No way. Yeah. What's that?
Michelle's the co-chair, too.
Oh, where is the? Oh, thank you. Oh, bless you. Yes, these are. This is really what it is. It's about joy. How much there's overflowing cup here. So I know one thing that is true. Winters in Chicago. Are you happy with them? right? So the truth is, most of the time you'd like a little break, wouldn't you? So I'm offering this to you. Where I'm going to be, I'm going to take a cruise. It's a gratitude cruise. It's with a lot of New Thought ministers and two wonderful vocalists, Karen Drucker, who we sing many of her songs, and Karen Taylor Good, who's now with Stowe, so it's called Stowe Good. But I have been on a lot of cruises with this group called Spirit at Sea. We have, it's out of San Diego. It's 1 week. It is really inexpensive, especially if you don't care if you look out, because, you know, there's plenty of things going on the boat. On the ship, but we leave out of San Diego. It's 1 week, January 6th through the 13th. Is it chilly here then? Yes, right. So come join us. It's a really inexpensive time to fly also because everybody's back in school or whatever they're doing. So 6th through the 13th, it's 1 week. We go to Cabo, Mexico. But the days at sea, we have speakers, we have songs, we have music, and you will not believe all the New Thought, Unity, and CSL people that you haven't met. And they're just, it's an extraordinary time. So Rev Ev and Scott are coming, Michelle and Mark are coming. We have a number of people from California, but there's all these ministers that are bringing so many different people. So I invite you to come. There's a sign-up sheet back here. It's called Spirit at Sea. It has my mug on it and the map and the ship and all of these things. So anyway, we would love you to come. And also, it's a fundraiser for Unity of Oak Park, a part of your, yes, absolutely. So anyway, yay.
So we can all, after service, this is your last dessert until January. So come on the cruise. We'd also like to bless our youth and our youth director, Chris Manville and Babatoni, who are upstairs. Please rise and join us for the prayer of protection, followed by the peace song as we conclude the service. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Sunshine, she's here. You can take a